Holy crap! Never in doubt, right? The United States live just in that Gold Cup Fire Festival of football. Our G League US men's national team faced up to, I'd say, a degree of adversity tonight against a scrappy, admirably scrappy Costa Rica, but we survived and advanced 2-2. We won on penalties 4-3, thanks to an enormous performance from Matt Freese. 3 saves. Man was honestly like Harvard Donnarumma. America's got a new hero. You're welcome. We live and breathe on a night that Canada was shocked by the feistiness of 104 in the world. Guatemala on penalties. We will face the very same lad by colour in St. Louis on Wednesday night. And it is a joy to break all of this chaos, carnage in CONCACAF with a gem we first loved as the most ferocious player ever to represent the men's team. God, I wish he was playing tonight. That burst of tenacity, aggression, the cocksure clinicality. Oh, straight out of Texas for this live post-match episode of The Juice. It's a joy to welcome the iconic bass assassin. It's Mr. Clint Dempsey.
What's up, Raj? How's it going?
What did he just say to me when we got on this? You just said to me,
"Oh, thank you, Lord, dude. I can't believe this. This must be what it's like to be an Everton fan, huh?"
That's what you said. It's what you said. He just gets on and goes, "Oh my God, are we all Everton fans now?" This is what it feels like to just watch just fearful, challenging football. But then, oh my God, your spirits are raised at the very last. And we will break it all down tonight. I'm here in Washington, D.C. We have had almost a week off since we last were together, Clint. Tell the people how you spent yours. I guess I'm asking, can we get a golf update?
No, actually, I did play a lot of golf. It's been hot. The heat wave was coming through, but had a few rounds in the high 70s, low 80s. So, I mean, it was a good few rounds. How about you? What have you been doing? You look a little red. You been on vacation somewhere? Where you been at?
Have I been on vacation? Oh my! I wish. I genuinely no days off for Rog until the World Cup is won. By the way, I think today was a glimpse of what the World Cup final is going to be like. Call me deluded. I think we're going to win it on penalties, but we'll talk about that. Let's get to the game in one moment and that penalty shootout, which we'll relive. But it's been the summer of soap opera for the United States, and this weekend we got sucked into another one. Deal with this quickly. Strange news, let's say, out of the Irish media yesterday. Traditionally well-sourced journalist David Snyde reported that Mauricio Pochettino was one of the managers interviewed for the Brentford job alongside Steve Cooper. A job ultimately went to set-piece coach Keith Andrews. Reaction from within the United States soccer fan base was immediately incandescent. But last night, Mauricio Pochettino denied the report. But Clint, I mean, just the optics of all of this, it does feel like we're living less a tournament, more like a soap opera. It's like Love Island has fewer twists and turns.
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about what happened before Gold Cup and then this news coming out, I hope it's not a situation where there's smoke, there's fire. So I hope the rumors are not true. You don't want that going into a World Cup year, 1 year out from a World Cup on home soil. So, but credit to the boys. They blocked all that out and they got the job done tonight.
I will say, Clint, the challenge in this moment is almost that Poch is being left to be the sole spokesperson on all of these issues. In the old Galati days, Sunil would have had visibility. But we've got, in this moment, Cindy Paulo-Cone, who's done a lot of great stuff for the game. She's very, very silent in her profile. And I think it would benefit all of us if someone from US Soccer would come out and say, this is insane, it never happened. You know what I mean? If they just knock it on its head and say, let's get on with the football. But Godspeed. Let's hope that is the last we hear of it and we can get into tonight. This is a Gold Cup Do It Live made possible by our great friends at Allstate, which means you, dear Jeffrey Pease, are a massive part of the show. Come on and ask questions of Clint about whatever you want, be it penalty shootouts, be it American glory, never in doubt, be it about fishing, golf, the world. Just come and be with us. Send in your comments. We'll read the best ones out. Give us a like. Subscribe to the channel. Just come and be with us in this moment. Chat's already humming. PK Guel says they won. That's all that matters. MJR man says, oh man, it's 3:30 a.m. in Germany. Do I even go to sleep now? Let's effing go. God bless you, MJR man. I hope you're Damien Downs' parents. We love you. He's a great American double D. Suze Mai says, teeny tiny dog has no idea why she just got simpered into the air, but she's happy to be included anyway. Let's quickly get into the game. Clint, the opening lineup, Pochettino trying to jam all the guys he likes, his dogs, into one line out. We line up. We kind of blown out a terrible Trinidad and Tobago, done just enough to get past Saudi Arabia, then Haiti. Now, short-handed Costa Rica, 54th in the world Costa Rica. Injury and suspension meant they were without many of their starters, including the great Manfred Ugalde, who's got 3 goals in this tournament. I think they'd lost to us. Oh no, they lost to everyone in their last 7 quarterfinal appearances. We said the knockout rounds would be our moment of truth. In the early exchanges, what did you see? Did you see rustiness of a team that hadn't played in a week, or did you see a refreshed starting 11? They looked good in the opening exchanges, this team.
Yeah, apart from the going to ground in the box and giving up the penalty, I think the team showed a lot of character fighting back, getting back into the game, and then going up a goal and then looking like we were going to get that third. And then you have a situation where one player beats 2 of our guys and they're able to get back into the game. And once they got back into the game, it looked like they were going to be the ones to score, not us. And you go into the penalty shootout, and we were texting back and forth, and how do you feel? And I was like, I'd be lying to you if I told you I wasn't nervous because of the experience that Navas had. But, hey, Mr. Freeze, he came up big for us, and credit to the boys that took penalties and stepped up in those situations and got it done. I'm
in DC for a live show tomorrow night at the Howard Theatre. I am going to try and get Matt Freeze a Medal of Honor while I'm down there, because it was an amazing performance. I mean, you just summed up the game. Let's live some of the beats together, okay. Clint.
Yep.
Ultimately, Costa Rica barely had a sniff in those first 10 minutes. Yep. Then Austin, he made, let's just say, a series of unfortunate event kind of decision. He whiffed on a clearance. He got skinned. Yep. Then with his brain no doubt filled with all kinds of adrenaline, he just went right through Vargas, almost totally unnecessarily. Can you explain what you saw in that moment?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's kind of like what you said. The ball was bouncing around. It almost looked like it hit his hand, and then he was kind of nervous in the situation and just trying to clear it. But you got to be careful when you go to ground if you're ever in the box. You have to be absolutely 100% sure, know what's around you, because, like you said, someone can step in front of you, nick the ball away, and then you give up a penalty. And when you get into these knockout rounds, one goal could be all that it takes to be the reason why you're out of it. But credit to him. He got the goal in the second half, made up for his error. Credit to Tillman. He missed his penalty, but had the assist to him in the second half. Diego Luna, credit to him, kept shooting. He had some bad shots with the right foot, like shanking it about 2 or 3 times, but then was able to get the left-footed deflection. But,
I think Diego's doing it on purpose. I'm pretty sure this is his technique, just like genuinely. It's just like he's shanking them. He knows it's going to hit somebody, Adjiman or a defender. That is definitely on purpose. But Costa Rica converted the penalty. Yeah. It was Calvo. Smashed that ball through Matt Freeze. Q Miguel Herrera, our old friend, exploding on the sideline. You love that man, Clint. You had a great description for him when we were chatting earlier.
I said he was like like Jesse Marsh, you know what I mean, for Costa Rica. But it's good to see passionate coaches that have your team's back. He figures out he knows how to fire those guys up. But
you said to us, I was driving into the city, and you were just like, that Miguel Herrera is Mexican Jesse Marsh, which I just love. I love. Jesse Marsh is pure 100% CONCACAF. Yeah. First time the US have been behind all tournament. How would they react? By the way, what would have been going through your mind if you were on the field in that moment? Go 1 down to a much lesser team, but with so much time still to play on home turf.
Yeah, I mean, you just got to press the issue. You got to keep getting forward. You got to get shots off, get crosses off, and leave everything out there. There's no time to kind of sit and wait and fill the game out. I mean, you got to figure out a way to get one back. And, we kept knocking on the door, and we're finally able to get it. But, it was definitely stressful because you didn't know where the goals were going to come from. I mean, at the moment that we scored, I was looking, I was talking to my wife, and I was sitting with my kids. We're all watching the game, and I was like, man, I don't know who's going to get us a goal tonight, if I'm being honest. And then Diego had that deflection, and sometimes all you need is that little bit of luck to kind of get us back, and then it kind of got us going again, and we started the second half well. But you talk about a little bit of rust and that kind of stuff. But being a week off, it gets out of a rhythm a little bit. Unless you have players that are injured and are able to get back, there's not much of an advantage there. You just kind of you want to stay in that rhythm. But we, like you said, we started good, but gave up that penalty. But we showed a lot of character tonight. We didn't play the best, like we talked about. It was hard to watch at times, but we showed fight. We showed character. I mean, that's what the fans want to see. That's what gets people believing again.
By the way, that is exactly right. With some of these players, it is character. It is effort. It is just passion. Ultimately, that's the lowest common denominator of what we want to see, and we did see it. I do want to ask about the challenger. When you're feeling, sitting there at home thinking who is going to score, part of the computing in the Dempsey brain is we were shooting at Keylor Navas, a man who I think 120 caps, almost a third of them that were clean sheets, 38 years of age, an icon in CONCACAF. Yep. You could actually see in some of the players, they were passing instead of shooting when they were in pretty advanced positions. What's it like to play against Keylor Navas, Clint? Can you describe? He's almost got a force field aura.
Yeah, I mean, I was lucky enough in my career to play against a lot of top keepers, and for me, I look at it as an opportunity to try to get one against them, right? To try to score. I remember taking a penalty versus Navas. I think it was my 100th cap. We were in Costa Rica, away from home, after the drama of Snow Classico in Denver, and I remember being a little bit nervous and just said, you know what, I'm going to try to hit this hard down the middle, because I felt like being at home, he's going to be trying to make a save. He's going to move off of his line a little bit, and he's going to guess. And I was able to hit a shot that kind of deflected off of him, got a little bit lucky. But, we ended up losing that game. But it's one of those things, you're up for the challenge. You want to test yourself against the best, and it's always great to play against legends like him.
To your point about effort, the Hairy Texan in the chat says, yes, Clint, the effort was a lot better today. By the way, the Hairy Texan, just a fantastic handle. I'm sorry it's taken. I would have taken that one. But we saw the aura and then some. 37th minute, a penalty, Vargas stretching, trying to block a Tillman cross, went right through his Achilles. VAR's there for moments like that. Upstepped Malik Tillman, our hero. He of hot Tillman summer. Never taken a senior penalty before, according to John Strong. Going up against a living legend, Keylor Navas. What happened there? You're a penalty taker yourself. What did you see?
For me, I think it was a situation where he knew that he was going to have to hit a good penalty, and then at the end, he kind of gave it a little bit too much to make sure to put it more into the corner, and then just kind of left it out there and hit the post. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where it looked like he took a little bit of a knock before he took it. But what I'm more impressed about is how he recovered in the game. Because his ability, it looked like, I don't know, this could go either way, right? He could get down and not make an impact in the game, and then that kind of will define him for the rest of the tournament. But being able to get the assist, being able to continue to show his skill and create problems, and then to step up and take the penalty after missing, going to the same side, for me, that shows that he's built for these moments, and he's growing in front of our eyes. And he is someone that when I'm watched play, I like the style in which he plays, the skill that he shows, but also the character that he has to take a situation of missing a penalty but bouncing back.
I mean, God bless. I could not agree with you more. If Malik Tillman is the gift of this summer, it is not a wasted summer. Diego Luna, we've talked about a lot. Sure. Maybe today, and we'll get to him. This was his moment today. This was his game. Matt Freese, who knows, with the goalkeeper reality in the slightly obtuse reality that it's in. But the game quickly devolved into kind of prison rules, CONCACAF style. Let them fight. Let them fight. Yeah. We were wobbling and upstepped. A man we love, Diego Luna, living out again the trick he does of scoring off of other people's body parts. He adjumanned one against Trinidad. Here he spanked one in. I think it was off Gamboa. Enormous deflection. But my God, watching him celebrate, Clint, just roaring into that camera. That's why The fans loved this human being. The passion he exuded in this celebration. For a team of 11 Diego Lunas.
There was two things I saw from Diego Luna, but also I will say the team. His reaction after the goal, but also the team's reaction. If you look at like Matt Turner, all the guys they're off the bench, they're running, they're celebrating with him. But also I like the fact that when he got subbed, he was upset. He wanted to be in the crunch time moment. You know what I'm saying? And you want people to be out there. So if I'm a coach, I take that as, all right, I want people to be upset they're being subbed. I want them to want to be out there and to be in that crunch time type moment. So there was a lot of good things I saw tonight, even though the play wasn't the best. There was things that got me thinking, okay, this team's fighting. This team's got something about them. They're growing in this tournament. And you talk about paths to get to a final. This couldn't have worked out any better, right? You could have had Canada in the next game instead of Guatemala. Don't take anything away from Guatemala. They played well. And then at the same time, you got Honduras and Mexico. It could have been Panama and Mexico. You know what I'm saying? So it's cool to see some of these teams kind of stepping back up into the frame and like Guatemala and Honduras that they've been down and out. And you haven't seen them for a while. So it shows that there's a mix-up going in CONCACAF, which is good to see.
I love a competitive CONCACAF, and I do. I mean, this is another conversation for another time. I want the Gold Cup to be revered, like the Euros, like AFCON now, African Cup of Nations. We need some CONCACAF self-love. I love that these teams are stepping up and smiting all comers. It's good for all of us. But the US had 70% of possession in that first half. You talked about how that midfield looked very passive to you. The combo with midfielders just lacked the forward gear at times. But I will say, one of the storylines of the summer that not enough people are asking about is Johnny Cardoso. Just been signed, according to Fabrizio, for huge money by Atletico Madrid, just sitting there on the bench. But when you were very frustrated, all of that ball, very little usage of it.
I mean, when we were texting back and forth during the game, I mean, for me, it's too much side to side and back. We need people breaking lines, whether you're driving with the ball or even playing forward through, trying to play through those pockets. I didn't see enough of that. It felt like people were playing a little bit too safe. But once we got that goal in the second half from Max, a ball from Tillman into Ajiman, back to Tillman that played to Max, who had a great finish there. It looked like we were going to go on and got that confidence to do something. And then I just, for the life of me, how you gonna let one guy split two of your defenders and create that opportunity against the run of play?
You would not have been pleased if you were in that locker room, would you?
Bro, it changed the whole game. And from that moment, we had a few chances, but Costa Rica, they built into the game. And when they hit the post, if that guy would have had any spin on the ball, it's curtains.
Oh my God!
He hit it in the middle and it knuckled instead of spin.
We were staring at the abyss for a second, Eklund. We were howling at the abyss. I mean, the Max Austin redemption arc. What happened? Because that moment was brilliant. That was within 2 minutes of coming out of that locker room. I don't know if there was a Pochettino hairdryer or what it was, but that was a stunning moment of football. Tillman spreading it wide. Max Austin just sweeping in low, sweet, true. I mean, I texted you. I said, you either die the penalty conceder or you live long enough to become a hero. It was beautiful football, but we did it once.
There wasn't enough of it.
We are capable.
I mean, for me, I like to see Ajiman doing a better job of holding the ball up. I think he does a great job of getting into those dangerous areas. And then it's like, all right, let's bring other people into play. There's too many times you would lose it, right? Get your position, hold people off, pass, and then try to get it again, right? There was too many times. But at the same time, he fought hard, and he's raw, and we knew that. I just hope that he's able to learn from some of these moments. He had a part to play in the build-up to the Max goal by doing the combination with Tillman. I'd like to see a little bit more of that, a little bit better hold-up play, being a little bit more reliable and keeping possession, and allowing our midfield to get more involved in the game.
Yeah, I mean, Costa Rica, we need to recognize this. We're on the ropes in this moment. Just an incredible save from Navas, kept out Richards from a set piece. Austin hit a misplaced cross off the bar. Costa Rica, I think in 9 attempts, had never beaten the US at this tournament. They had not so much as managed a shot on goal. This is where we were in the second half. Then out of nowhere, the moment that pissed you off more than any other, Carlos Moura beat Austin and De La Torre as if they were just a pair of lemons. I mean, he could not have embarrassed them more, Clint, if he whipped their shorts down as he ran past them.
Yeah, I mean, you can't let him split you. The reason why you're doubling up is two things. He's either going to try to go line or he's going to cut back. You can't let him go through you. So you go from that moment of giving up the penalty, then you go to like getting it back by getting the goal, and then you have that moment again. So hopefully we're learning from these moments and not putting ourselves in these situations again. But yeah, it's definitely frustrating to watch.
I mean, it was very frustrating. They sliced in, smashed it off the keeper, picked up his. I think they call it in the WNBA. Got a me-bound off the goalkeeper and then slipped it on to Martinez, who stabbed him. It was like a footballing rope-a-dope because suddenly Costa Rica, we wanted a response. We did not get one. Honestly, our US boys were suddenly the ones who were shocked, who were cowed. Costa Rica were emboldened down the stretch. I mean, Martinez, that bullet, you've already nailed it. It was a Clint Dempsey snipe shot, freeze beaten, the ball thumped off the post. What was the scene like in the Dempsey house in that moment?
Oh, everybody was like, we felt like Freeze felt, looking at the ball hit the post and be like, oh my God, that would have been a wrap, right? Because that was in late 80th minute, and hey, sometimes you need a little bit of luck. But what I'll say about Freeze in the shootout that I liked, the first one, I feel like he went too early. I like that he took his time a little on the other ones, right? Make him beat you. He's got a big frame. He stays on his line. Make him beat you to the corners, right? Don't go early. There's no need to go early, right? And I just thought he did a great job of being a dominant presence in there. He guessed right on a lot of occasions, got his hand to a few, but some of those big saves he made, man, he's the man of the match for sure.
He read it. He read those penalties so well. I want to talk. I do want to acknowledge John Strong said earlier in the comms, if the Costa Rican penalty had been an inch to the left, Matt Freeze would have smothered it. If the US penalty had been an inch to the right, Tillman's penalty, it would have gone in. But man, if Martinez's shot had been a millimeter to the left, we would not have been alive to make it to the final whistle. Sometimes it is luck that keeps you alive. It did feel like one of those movie scenes where we were about to be, taken out and the gun jammed. It was like genuinely a reprieve, and we held on. I've got to say, you said it already. It's tough to watch, man. It is. I'm not saying it's a chore to watch the United States, but this summer, I think it'll be remembered as one where we wasted an opportunity to begin to convert new fans.
You know what's great, though, is we're feeling like this right now, and guess what? It wasn't the most packed stadium, but it's better. It was a better crowd for the game. There's more energy building. You know what I'm saying? That's a positive, and I'm starting to believe again in this team. They didn't play their best football, but they fought hard, and there were some quality moments there. There were some glimpses, and I'm optimistic, man. I think you are.
I want to ask you about that. I do. I want to ask you, and I'm going to save it till we get to the penalties. But I do want to ask you: we can still win this thing. That's the.
Yes.
We have a reprieve. We are alive. Yeah. We live. We're still in this thing, and I do want to get your read on that because it's so bloody important. But the penalties, break them down with me. You've experienced penalty shootouts in your career, and I do think it's important for a second because we watched Canada lose by them. We watched the US win today. Can you talk about how the act of striking a ball from 12 yards in a penalty shootout turns into just like full-on Eminem, palms are sweaty, knees weak. It's like something. Mom spaghetti, yeah.
On the surface, I look calm and ready to drop bombs, but I keep on forgetting what I wrote down. Man, it's kind of like free throws. When you're shooting free throws, you got to make sure you're tired when you're doing it. And when you're taking penalties, it's good to be tired when you're doing it because you want to stress yourself out a little bit, and then you want to execute in those moments, but there's never a true way that you can replicate what it's like in a game. The only way you can do it sometimes is I remember with Tim Howard after practice sometimes, or Nick Raimondo, they say, you get one. You get one today. You get one penalty, see what you do, right? So you go up and take it, so it puts more pressure on the penalty that you're taking. But when you're a penalty taker, man, your heart is in your throat. You're trying to breathe. But you got to make sure it's like you've practiced this, you've been in this moment, and then there's different ways you do it, right? There's a way that you might stutter step. You're watching the keeper a little bit more. There's sometimes you just kind of know where you're going to go. But the thing is once you make that decision, you have to trust it and go with it, right? You don't want to see that jam kind of penalty where it's not to the corner, but it's not in the middle, and it's easy for the keeper to save. And you got to mix it up. You got to look at the keeper and see how he is. If he's someone that's moving a lot, down the middle is a good way to go. That's why I was surprised that Carvalho did that, because Freeze, he wasn't guessing anymore. He was waiting, and he was doing a better job of making a play. And credit to him being confident, because you saw in the Canada shootout with Guatemala, there was a few times they went right down the middle when it could have easily been saved. Which
US coach trained you or drilled you on penalty shootouts the most of all the ones you had?
I mean, we would take them, especially when you're around tournaments. But even when you were just in friendlies, I was always taking them, because I wanted to be the penalty taker, right? I wanted to score goals. If you scored goals, it helped make your contracts better, right? And if you play well for the national team, it can help you with club, and you play with the club, it can help you with national team. They kind of go hand in hand. I mean, the reason why I was able to get to Europe, I scored in the World Cup in 2006 with the U.S. It kind of got me my move to Fulham. So it was one of those things that you want to be the guy that's in those moments that the team can count on to get the job done. And for me, I was able to be in that position sometimes and was able to make it happen.
In one goal, we had Keylor Navas, one of the greatest goalkeepers our region's ever produced. In the other, Harvard-educated Mr. Matt Freeze, fourth cap. This was his moment to show that he should seriously be considered as a US number one. It began. Martinez sent Freeze to his right, rolled the ball down the middle, Pura Vida style. Then Keylor Navas stood on his line to stare Tyler Adams in the eye. Did not like this penalty shootout.
Yeah.
I've got to tell you, I love Tyler. It was his first ever shootout penalty. He just about crept it past Navas's fingers, but then when we were holding out for a hero, Matt Freeze came up massive, smothered. Quite poor penalty from Vargas. But actually, Tillman was up next. Dude had already missed a penalty already. Did you ever have that where you'd missed a penalty, had to go again? I mean, that's just like wheels within wheels mind games. It's like rock, paper, scissors.
I don't know if there's been a game where I've had two penalties to take, but it's one of those things. It's like you're confident. You got to go with what you're feeling, right? You have to make your decision and look like, hey, he knew that he was going to go to the same side, and credit to him. He hit a great penalty. Tyler Adams, I like the fact that he did the stutter step. It was a little bit close for comfort, but it showed that he had confidence. Another penalty that impressed me was Freeman. I like how he stepped up and took.
Oh, my God.
I ain't going to lie. I was nervous. I was nervous when he was taking his penalty, but the way he looked, he stuttered, and then he put it into the corner like he did.
It was massive. I mean, Tillman buried it. Van der Putten slipped it through Freeze. But then Sebastian Berhalter, God bless, stepped up and just blasted the ball like an American Baggio into the Minneapolis night sky. I will say the agony on his family's faces in the box look on.
His sister. You can tell his sister was feeling for him. And you know what? Those are the moments that you learn from, right? Hopefully he's like, all right, I know what this feels like. And you know what I'm saying? He stays at it. Like I tell my kids, if you ever miss, what are you going to do the next day? You better get out there and you better take 10, 20, do as many penalties as you can possibly take in practice to get over that psychologically, that you can go and step up in those moments. Don't be someone scared of a moment, ever. Go up there and, live with it, right? I'd rather live like a man than die like a coward. Like Tupac said, right? Go up there and test yourself. Don't be scared, and the practice that you put in is what's going to get you confidence.
As someone who is perpetually afraid of the big moment, I love your advice. And I do believe, I don't know Sebastian Berhalter, but I do believe he is that kind of tenacious gentleman who will be, in a very Michael Bradley-esque way, just drilling penalties tomorrow for hours. And there will be a moment, I do believe, in his career where Sebastian Berhalter takes a penalty again, and we love it. Brenes buried his, up stepped 20-year-old Alex Ruben. You've already said this was the best penalty of the lot to me. He'd seen Berhalter miss. We were imploding. That was the darkness. It was a very, very, with Navas chirping him on and off his line, flapping. That was a big boy penalty, that.
Nah, for sure. That was the one that impressed me the most. I was kind of the Tolkien penalty. It just took too long for him to get an opportunity to step up, right? And I didn't like the fact that he went up and was trying to get involved with the talking between Navas and the ref. Just stay back.
Yeah,
put the ball down and kind of get about it. There's certain times you watch players and they're doing too much. Like even the first penalty taker for Costa Rica, he kind of did that wink. And sometimes that comes back to haunt you. In his case, it didn't. You know what I mean? So my thing is you just never want to be doing too much. You just want to get down, focus on what you got to do. And then once you put the biscuit in the basket, you can do whatever you want to do. You know what I mean?
After Tolkien, natural blonde, upstepped 19-year-old, poor little kid from New York Red Bull 2. Penalty spot at this point was just one huge golf divot. I will say Freeze big boyed him again. He was really enjoying it in that. You saw a goalkeeper that was loving it. Third save of the shootout. And then we saw Damien Downs. We knew he wasn't going to miss. The Germans are so good at penalties, Clint.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if you look historically, and then and what's crazy stat that we watched that I found out today is they're 0-4 Costa Rica in penalty shootouts, and I think it was the Gold Cup. That's a crazy stat. I never would have thought that with having Navas as the goalie over time. You'd have think that they'd have been in quite a few and they'd have been victorious. But hey, they're still looking for that first win.
Yeah, I mean,
shootout.
Costa Rica were just CONCACAF England. A lot of comments coming in. Matt Freeze, the hero, saying to Navas, how'd you like them apples? I mean, it was like watching, as I said, Harvard Donna bloody rumour. Jason Nix in the chat says Freeze is a mind reader. There can be no other explanation. Matt Freeze has just wrapped up his post-game comments. He told Fox's great Jenny Taft. He said, penalties are just my thing, which I love. Andrew Meyer in the chat says, this game was American AF. We showed up, made our presence known, messed up a little, got beaten up a bit, and came out on top. God bless. Tom Bogart on Twitter had a great Mauricio Pochettino quote. He said, we showed great character. We concede a penalty. We miss a penalty. We still continue to play. I'm so pleased for the players. They deserve all the credits. The good news is we're still alive. Just Guatemala away. We live, Clint. US could still win this thing. I do need to ask you, what has to change? And we watched Guatemala against Canada today. We both admired them deeply. Real collective fight and football. But what has to change for the US to really do what we want to do, which is to make naysayers of us all and win this bloody thing?
Yeah, I mean, I just think we got to do a better job of creating more chances in the attacking third. I think playing with a sense of urgency is going to be important. Once you kind of start getting into the second half, the team that's the underdog starts thinking, hey, we can get this to penalties and have a chance to do an upset. You know what I mean? So I think it's easier said than done, but try your best to get an early goal and rely on your subs. Know that, hey, empty the tank and somebody else can come up and step in. And like you talked about, do we make changes in that central midfield? Do we bring Cardosa in to kind of to mix things up maybe? But still, I mean, Tillman has been the light so far for me for this U.S. men's national team and the way that he's played. And Freeze, another great performance from him, especially after conceding the goal the last game in the way that he did. Just the way he performed tonight, thought he put in a solid performance. So, yeah,
I mean, that was a massive performance. This could be narrative changing for him the moment when we start to take his possibility seriously. I give huge credit to Matt Turner. You nailed it earlier, Clint. Yeah. When Diego Luna scored, Matt Turner was first off the bench. Delirious. Absolutely. Yeah. His face was really, really beautiful. I've got all the respect in the world. Lord, there's a lot we can talk about, but we've got so many callers. I do want to get to them. A reminder of how this works here on YouTube Live. Scan the QR code in the top left of your screen. Come be with us. Take you into a Zoom with the great producer, Tony. We'll get you up to ask Clint your question. I'm going to jump right into them so we can plow through a bunch and savor really your best questions, America. Let's start with the mighty Ben. Unmute, tell us where you're from and what's your question for the great Clint Dempsey.
Hey, Raj, can you hear me?
Ben, hello, gorgeous. Tell us where you're from and what's your question, baby.
This is so crazy. I'm a longtime listener. I've listened to you greet so many people. I'm in Madison, Wisconsin, but I'm originally from Pittsburgh, PA. I'm Liverpool supporter and USMNT.
Proper Yinzer.
Yinzer, yeah.
Hey, what's your question for King?
First question, kind of the joke one. Can we sign Isak? Let's do it. Here we go.
One-time transfer switch, you mean? Are you talking about US men's national team or Liverpool?
Of course,
Or both.
the U.S. men's national team. But actually, to what extent and at what positions do we think this depth chart is actually being challenged by the performances in this tournament? Obviously, we're talking about the goalkeeping situation a lot right now, but Berhalter in the number 8, the right back position. What else do we think? Thank you so much.
Thanks, Big Ben. Clinty.
I mean, in terms of when we have our full team completely fit, I think Tillman gets into the lineup. I think if Freeze keeps performing like he's doing, I think he goes in there. It depends on Dest's situation. I mean, Freeman's is done a good job, but I still think it's going to be tough to knock out Dest. Anthony Robinson, I don't think anybody's taking his spot. Chris Richards, he's for sure. He's always I think the first center back they put there. If Tim Ream can keep going, then that's what's up. But I think up top, I don't know. That's depends on the people's fitness and how healthy they are. Like I said, I mean, I'm a big Balogun fan from what I saw in Copa America, but Ajiman's been the guy who's been scoring goals. He's just really raw still. I think he needs to do a little bit better job of his hold-up play, bringing people in and being a little bit more clinical with his chances, but he's definitely a handful there. But Raj, what about you? Do any of the other guys think he breaks into this best 11?
Yeah, I mean, the best 11. Ultimately, if you're Pochettino, you definitely want to bring someone through. You have to challenge. I mean, the one word that we've heard a lot from everybody around the team, we've talked about it a lot. Some of the players have spoken about it. The word complacency has come up over and over again. So Poch definitely needs to mix things up and challenge almost the incumbents. So I think, please God, Malik Tillman is going to be his dog who he's going to insert into the next starting lineup, even with a full hand of cards. And in terms of like Freeman, I think he's really auditioning for the Joe Scally role, the second on the depth chart. I mean, that's really where some of these bits are. Ajiman is probably, I would imagine, trying to fight for that third place, the Haji Wright place in the last World Cup squad, that third striker. I've got to be candid. I was so relieved Hajiman wasn't on the field to take a penalty. I watched Damien. I mean that with great respect and love. Like, he's knackered, exhausted. He's given his all. I would not have enjoyed that walk to the spot. Damien Downs, God bless. I would love to see that man given some time, given some space, that was a very calm, very no fuss, no drama, very high stakes, no fuss, no drama penalty.
What I will say is moments like what we saw in this penalty shootout will help these players so much in confidence. Certain players like Freeman stepping up and taking that penalty. Adams letting everybody know, hey, I'm one of the captains. I'm one of the leaders. Look, I can be up here and doing it. Tillman. And like you said, Downs. I think Downs could benefit a lot from being in that situation. He got the goal that got him through. If he gets his opportunity to get back out there, I mean, he's someone that could cause problems. I do like the fact that they went with 2 strikers up top and they at least went for it. You know?
God bless. God bless. And I'll tell you,
they tried to go for it.
Another player who's going to be in that squad when it's Avenger assembled again with all the bodies, Diego Luna will be in that squad. I have no doubt. We ride with Diego Luna. He's our energy guy. He is our bloody energy guy. CFO in the chat says, Diego Luna talks with action. I love that phrase. He does talk with action, and we need a lot more of that. Next one up, it's Christian. A mute. Come on up. Tell us where you are and what question you got for Clint Dempsey.
My name is Christian. I'm from Atlanta. Can you hear me?
We hear you loud and clear, baby. We're going to say you're from Atlanta. Oh, that footballing
Atlanta.
mecca.
I met you at the live show. It was great. Best nights of my life. Clint, it's an honor. You're the reason why I love football.
Appreciate you.
My question is, what does the U.S. men's national team do now, struggling with Costa Rica? Clint already kind of answered that. But my most important question is: Matt Freese the greatest penalty keeper of all time?
Oh man, I don't know. We've had some good ones. And an unsung hero in the penalty shootout, I'd say Nick Raimondo. He's someone that was good at penalty shootouts. But, hey, anytime you have a keeper that steps up and does what he did in terms of the amount of saves that he had tonight, and if he can continue to do that, it starts to be kind of like he's that guy, right? And you got that confidence now when you go into those situations. It's going to give him that little extra edge that he can do more. But I think this team is still building, and like Raj talked about, this is not our A team, but you're seeing something develop here. You're seeing the fight that they have. They understand how close they are to trying to be in a final and win something, to get this fan base back on track. And I'm not putting anything against Guatemala. They did a great job against Canada, but the U.S. should be able to get past them and have a chance to play against Mexico in the final. It's easier said than done. They're going to have to go out there and play their best. But in terms of getting to the final, that's what we wanted them to do, and they have a chance, especially after tonight, of getting the result they did.
But Christian, I love your question. Is he the greatest penalty keeper of all time? I just love how we move into this realm. I think I've got to say George Patton. I imagine I'd probably put him as probably one of the best American penalty savers of all time. I'm trying to think about the flow of American history. Who would have been great? George Washington, probably not so good. Abraham Lincoln, I wouldn't have fancied our chances. But Patton, definitely bloody. Hemingway was probably pretty good in that. But your question about optimism. I love what you've just said, Clint. It really rings my bell here. Ultimately, what's Poch said all this time? From the very beginning, I want a team that fights, that suffers, that gives its all to win. I realised we saw that for the first time tonight. That was not pretty. Yeah. It wasn't great all the time. But you're right, man. They were on the barroom floor in a brawl. They dragged themselves off the sawdust tonight with blood in their mouth and swung again. That's really the beginning of something, right? Is that? I mean, you were saying you are so optimistic now. What was the cause? What was the root of that optimism? Just give us that blast, because I think we all need it.
Well, they say everybody has a plan. They get knocked in their mouth, right? And then we got knocked in the mouth with that penalty in the beginning of the game. And then you got Diego Luna stepping up, getting us back in the game. And then you got Max trying to make up for the penalty that he gave away. And it looked like, all right, we're going to go on and, win this game comfortably, maybe get another. Then we have another mistake. But you know what? We bend, but we don't break. You get into this penalty shootout, and it's kind of – Who's got that about them? Who's got that medal? Who's got that where they're not going to bottle the situation like they say in England? They say squeaky bum time, right? People get a little nervous. They get a little nervous when your back's against the wall, right? And when you come out on the other end of these moments, it builds the chemistry as a team. Everybody's going to be fighting more and understanding like, hey, we're 2 games away from the mission accomplished. So I just think you need these type of moments, and us as fans, we needed this after Copa America and CONCACAF Nations League. I'm in the living room with my kids cheering. We're giving each other high fives, and it's like I want my kids to feel passionate about the U.S. and aspire to play for them one day. And I think you need these type of moments. And you see that in all different sports cultures where it's passed down from generation to generation, from father to son, mom to daughter. You need this kind of stuff. And tonight that was a moment.
Amen. I love it. I love it. I love it. I would be standing and applauding if I wasn't absolutely roped into this slightly jerry-rigged hotel room setup. We're going to take a couple of quick ones more before we wrap up, because your questions are coming thick and fast. I want to honour as many of you tonight as possible in this lovely moment. Clint, you've just framed it beautifully. Alexander, come on up. Tell us where you are, you beautiful human being, and what's your question for Clint Dempsey?
Hey, y'all, am I coming through clear?
Yes,
You're
sir.
coming through loud and clear. Over. Where are you, Big Alex?
I'm currently in California. I'm from Tampa, Florida.
Oh, God, speed to you. Both coasts covered, Alexander. What's your question?
Yes, sir. Real quick, I did want to say I fell in love with the sport of soccer. Summer 2014, Mr. Clint Dempsey had that dog in him, broke his nose versus Ghana, and I've been a lifelong fan ever since. Love everything you're doing. I did want to ask, is it possible in a team where you're winning, and I know we're not right now, but in a team where you're winning, can you produce a culture of being an underdog and having that grit like we're seeing out of Tillman today and we're seeing out of Luna. They're chasing after that ball. They're giving all their heart. Can you produce that when you're winning? And is it possible in the long term to keep that kind of grit, that mentality, even when you're winning? And I want to ask Mr. Clint, because you're in that locker room, you're having those conversations, you're there. Is it possible when you're winning to not just not have an ego, but to keep that fight like you're on, the underfoot when you're playing against teams that are, 54th on the leaderboards or lower than you? You want to get after it like you're playing Germany every day.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important the type of culture you have in a team. And me and Raj have talked about this a few times. I think it's important to have a culture where you feel like through training is the way that you get into the starting lineup, right? That you don't just show up every week and you know what that starting lineup is going to be. That maybe there's one or two changes that might happen through, play that you're showing that you're the best man for that job. I think that creates the best cultures in teams. But also, the more successful that you do get and the more that you do win, you are going to have egos and you're going to have situations where you're going to have to address the problems that you're having. You got to hope that you have people that are on the team that can keep it real with you, right? That can check you sometimes, because sometimes you're going to be out of line. There's plenty of times I was out of line. There's plenty of times other people are out of line, and I'm going to check them too. You got to be able to, you got to give it as good as you can take it in terms of criticism, right? And as long as you can have those type of conversations with your teammates in tough situations, backs against the wall, and know that like you can speak your piece and try to realize you're in it together and you're trying to do something great, bigger than yourself. I think those are the best kind of cultures in the teams that you'll be a part of.
Amen. I mean, to that is utterly true. And it's the kind of US team I think we all relate to. And Clint, you were the embodiment of that. And Alexander, what you said about Clint's play is really, really beautiful and incredibly moving. I mean, that player who always feels like an underdog, always feels like they have something to prove. In a way, again, that word complacency, when the starting lineup, the players in the last iteration of the team, always knew they were going to be starters. Once you have that, you can have underdogs or you can have really confident footballers, but what you can't have, neither of them work when there's complacency. Pep Guardiola talked about the hardest thing, the greatest challenge to Manchester City's consistency was complacency for them, even though they were the best team in the league. Complacency kills everything. Once you have complacency, you have inertia. I really believe part of the problem for the US soccer, where we've drifted and lost our way, is that we do try and play not underdog football, but we try and play like exquisite, attacking, complex, Barcelona 2010 football. We have to prove ourselves to ourselves. We don't. You look at Morocco at the last World Cup, underdog themselves all the way to the semi-final. I've said this before. You look at Iceland in Euro 2000. I always look at these teams. I'm like, why never us? Why never us? And so shattering that complacency, making sure all the players feel their place is constantly under threat, that they can't pick and choose when they play. They have to play. They have to report. Lose a step and the bus goes on without you. This is kind of where we need to move. I would love the US to re-embrace their underdog everything. I can tell you this, Alexander, everyone in the world is going to be coming for us at this World Cup. Everybody. We saw that in the Nations League, Panama trying to do us, Canada trying to do us. So I would say that I do hope we can reclaim. I don't see the underdog mentality as a weakness. I see it as our nation's strength on the men's side for this footballing future. But Godspeed, you made my night, bringing up great Clint Dempsey memories, and I know it moves Clint deeply too, even though he doesn't like to show it. We're going to take one more very quick one. It's David. Come on up, you beautiful human being. I think you're in Tennessee, possibly, but unmute. Come on up. Tell us where you are and what's your question for Clint Dempsey. Bring us home.
Hello, gentlemen. Glad to bring it home. Clint, I got to say, being a young kid and started following World Cup in 1986, actually born the exact same day as Kobe Jones, I've gotten a jersey every year. Only one time on one of my jerseys do I have a name on the back of it, and it is a beautiful red and white horizontal striped jersey with the number 8 on the back, and I still wear that proudly to this day. Thank
sir.
you for everything you've done for us.
Thank you.
My question's building on you and that and what Alexander just asked. Coach has made it clear that you have to be playing regularly with your club. You have to be playing well with your club. He says he wants to see you and feel you. He wants you in camp. He wants to see what you're like in camp and then continue to prove yourself. If you've proven yourself through all those on the field in front of you, regardless, he doesn't care who you sit on the bench for or how much your transfer value's worth or who, he just doesn't care. I think it's going to be great. It's going to build that underdog mentality. My question is, out of the guys not here in this camp, who is going to flourish in that culture? But I want to go first. Weston McKinney's been doing it. Every new manager, they throw his stuff out to the curb, and that makes him fight really hard. And he has. I think Weston McKinney, and he got lazy with it was embarrassing the way he played. I think it was in Nations. So I think it's going to be great for him. What do you think?
No, I think anytime that you got a little fire under your seat, it's gonna wake you up and make you be more alert, right? And when you feel that nothing is guaranteed and you have to fight for everything that you get, like we talked about it, a culture, talked about an environment. People are gonna adjust to that, right? I mean, they're gonna react to that. If they feel they can do whatever they want, then they're going to take liberties. I've done it myself, right? You need to always feel like you're under a little bit of pressure, and you got to still have that fight, and that's what kind of keeps y'all going as a team. And you have to have your teammates that are keeping you accountable, right? And it's easy to point fingers when things are going wrong, and it's easy to play well when you're winning games. But when your back is against the wall and you're in tough times, like going into this Gold Cup, there's not a lot of fans going to these games. Attendance is down. You have to create your own energy, and you know that you don't have your best team, but at the same time, you have an opportunity to try to show yourself and represent your country, not only in Gold Cup, but in the biggest stage of all, the World Cup, and being on home soil here in 2026. So you got to go out and grab it with both hands. You gotta fight for these moments, these opportunities, because to be able to say you play in one World Cup, 2 World Cups or whatever, that's what you're going to tell your kids, your grandkids about one day. So I just hope that this team fights for each other. They're able to hold each other accountable, and that people get back on track of supporting this team because of they see themselves in them and they can get behind what they're doing. I think that's important as well. It takes everybody being together to do something great.
I will say, Clint, the play I'm very much looking forward to getting fit again and then coming in and embodying so much of what Poch wants from a football team. Anthony Robinson, just a game-changing force, really, for us on the left side flank. I can't wait, to be candid, David, for him to return into that lineup. I think it will change so much to have a truly disciplined crosser of the ball, just a true threat down that left flank, opening up teams consistently, confidently, clinically, and creating in a whole way. Just change it. I think it changes everything across the field in a remarkable way. I've got to say, Clint, we're going to wrap, but you have made me, listening to you tonight, your energy, your joy, your positivity, your sense of optimism. I am leaving this conversation and the calls from all of you tonight. By the way, David, I did love the way you name checked every single caller before you. It just shows an incredible class and an incredible wonder that you're name checking everybody else in this GFOP community. But Clint, I am finishing absolutely buzzed. How I want to feel after a US game, I feel after listening to you talk about this US game. So I want to thank you. You're really injecting a sense of positivity, optimism, and putting this game into context for us.
No, I appreciate you, man. It's been fun hanging out and getting to know everybody, have all these callers come in, ask questions, and then us texting back and forth as games going on. And, hey, the U.S. is winning again, bro.
Oh, my God.
Can you imagine having to get on here after losing in the shootout and what this conversation
I
would
know.
have been?
I did say to you.
It's such small margins because we're so positive right now, but how would we have been if we lost the shootout? You know what I'm saying?
I know, Clint, because when we spoke this afternoon, we were both like, "Oh my God, what have we done? What have we done since we've started broadcasting together? Everything's gone to crap." Well, tonight we live, and I think, to be candid, it was Hemingway who said that ultimately the greatest feeling in life. It's Churchill. He said the greatest feeling is to be shot at without result. That was his quote, and I feel like we dodged one today. And when you have that, you feel alive, and to feel alive again is to feel that everything is bloody possible. That's how we feel, America. We will be back this Wednesday night after the semi-final for another taping. I should ask you, Clint, are you available for this beauty?
Yes, sir. You know I'll be there.
I love you.
You know I'm going to be
I
there.
love you. I've been lost without you, baby.
Hey, I'm not going to let you down.
God bless.
Hey.
So you know what? You can depend, whatever the score, and it is going to be a win, on Clint Dempsey. Come subscribe to the YouTube. Turn the notifications on. Come be with us when we go live. And for those of you with us tonight, you've got a special opportunity to join our new Discord channel. We've just launched it. We're beta testing it. We're dog fooding it. You can be part of the growing community. Just hit the link in the chat. We're giving you a chance because you are here with us late on a Sunday night. For those of you in DC, we have 2 tickets apparently that have just become available for tomorrow night's show with the mighty Sam Mewis at the beautiful, stunning Howard Theatre. Come and have a pint with me after that show. It's all thanks to the GFOPs at all states. So come if you're in DC and have a pint with old Rog. Check the Women's Game social for tickets at Women's Game MIB. Clint, huge love to you and your family. I'll see you Wednesday. Only love. That's it. Let's not take a moment of watching football together for granted. This is Rog saying courage, vamos, and go USA.